Computer. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Coach Brittany. I'm with College Coaches Connections. I'm sorry, I bumped my desk and my computer is moving a minute. And I am so thrilled to be joined here today with Andrea Gaminara. And if you haven't looked back at our previous conversation I just had with Ariana Gaminara, I suggest you go and do that. And if you're putting two and two together, yes, this is Ariana's mom. So our goal with these interviews that we've just started is to just kind of share a little bit about our athletes' experiences and getting their perspective. And then we also just thought it would be kind of fun. Ari mentioned her mom in our last call, and so we're like, let's get her mom on here. So, Andrea, thank you so much again for getting on this call with me. Ari is such a cool kid, as I know you know. But we know you currently live in Las Vegas, Nevada. We know Ari is your daughter, obviously, and she plays soccer. So, sorry, my thing keeps shaking. Hopefully it's not too noticeable, but she plays soccer. But can you tell us a little bit more maybe about yourself and your family and your background, whatever you're willing to share with us?
Sure. So, I'm Ariana's mom, Andrea. I'm originally from Czech Republic, from Europe. I came to United States when I was a little bit over 20, a little bit older than Ari is right now. I studied English in England, and I've met Ariana's dad there in London. And, we decided to be together, and this is the only way how we could. So I lived in the United States for a while with him, and then it didn't work out between Ariana's dad and I. But I stayed. I'm an American citizen, and I work for the Howard Hughes Corporation. And I don't know what else would be interesting. I have another child with my current husband. His name is Alexander. He's 9 years old, and he plays ice hockey for the Golden Knights. It's a junior league, house league. And that's our life. We're pretty much between sports. If it's not soccer field, it is a hockey arena.
Yeah, that's the best life if you ask me. But chasing around your kids doing sports. So yes. Can you tell us a little bit about what Ari was like as a kid?
Well, Ari, as a little girl, she was always very busybody. I think I don't remember her crawling, and if she did, it was for very little bit, and she got up and started running, and she never stopped. So Ariana was always one of those kids that you notice. Anywhere we went, she was never a kid that you would not see or, really didn't get noticed. So everywhere when we went, and sports was one of those things that parents were always coming up to me, and, I didn't pay attention to it much. I saw her that way. For me, she was like a normal kid. But then parents were telling me, she's very good at basketball. She can really keep up with the boys. She's the only one running and sweating. Then we would go to the park, and somebody told me, do you know she really throws far in a baseball? And I'm like, yeah, she has gift. She's good with any, it's okay. Yeah. And then and somehow I never really pay attention to it as much. To me, I knew she was very athletic. She has ADHD, so she was always very hyperactive. So that's how we decided for her to play soccer in a team sport and be busy so she could actually fall asleep and have rest. That was our goal. That it led to something else, that's another story.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's so cool. So out of curiosity, this wasn't on my list of things, but now I'm curious. If you could, what are the top 3 words that come to mind when you think of Ari, the person?
Ari is fun. She's fun, energetic, and authentic. Ari will never try to be something she's not. She is very ambitious, very driven, relentless too. I mean, she is all of those things. When I think of her, I mean, She
Mhm.
means well. And, sometimes people can perceive her, that she's too confident, but she's not. She's just strong and she's just determined. So her
Yeah.
determination sometimes looks like, she could be a little bit cocky or a little bit confident, but no, she's determined. She goes after what she
Intense,
wants.
right?
Yeah, she's intense. That's a good
Right.
word.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then if you were to describe Ari, the athlete, what are the top
Yeah.
three things maybe that come to mind?
Competitive, hardworking, never good enough. She will always strive to do better. She will never be happy with, she knows she can do better. So she
Right.
will never stop trying for more.
Right. That hard worker, that,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So I know you haven't listened or watched my call with her yet. And
No.
actually, I'm kind of glad. I thought about maybe I'll just send it to her, but now I'm like, I'm kind of glad she doesn't know what our conversation was. But she got a little vulnerable and a little honest with me, which I really appreciated. And she mentioned some things and here are some things that kind of stood out to me. And I'm going to tell you what she told me, and then I would love to hear your thoughts afterwards. They're all great things. But she mentioned at 4 years old, she got bit by a dog, and that was a very traumatic experience for her. She also told me she remembers from, I don't know, 5th grade, it probably was earlier, but with her ADHD, that she remembers a lot of late nights with you working at the kitchen table or whatever, with doing her homework. She said she could figure out the math, but she really struggled with the writing due to her ADHD. And then the other thing that really made an impression on me was she mentioned that you were an immigrant, and that she told me at 19 that you moved to London, or sorry, England. And it was really important to you that you raised these strong, independent, self-reliant kids who weren't fearful about leaving home and who weren't always going to be able to rely on you. That was something that was really important to you. So hearing all of that, that's what she shared with us, something that she shared with us, what comes to your mind when you hear that?
Well, I'm glad it's in there. That I guess
Yeah.
my job got done, because
Yeah.
obviously it's in her head. So that's good. Yeah. The only thing, I'll add to it, why it happened to me. My father passed away when I was 15 years old. And, coming from Eastern Europe when we couldn't travel, which is very accurate today, what's going on in the world, I lived it, I went through it. So when I went to London and the borders open and I could study and do things we couldn't do, it was very important for me that Ariana realizes that she has to be more independent. I left to another country, so if she wanted to go to college, I said, you can go anywhere you want. She's not leaving the country. She's going to leave maybe to a different state. But I wanted her to be able to be well grounded, because, I'm from somewhere else. I had different values. Her father was from South America, from Uruguay. And, although we shared same traditions and stuff, we both raised her that she traveled to South America. She traveled a lot to Europe. She understood both languages, the traditions, the foods. So for me, it was very important for Ari. She's very versatile and adaptive. Her best friends are very diversified. She doesn't have just American friends. She has all kinds of friends, female, males, or, so she kind of is accepting, and especially faith, because where I come from, we didn't have a faith. We were not allowed to practice faith, only in some villages. So when I got to United States, the first thing United States is based on faith. Everyone has some kind of faith. So we put her into a private school, which was based on faith. And I said, if I don't understand, it doesn't mean you won't understand it. So with Ari, she has a little bit of everything. I think, I look at her sometimes, she's very old fashioned because of me. I was raised a certain way and I brought those values to her. She likes music from my young years, not from current age, which she should like. She likes old movies like I do. So she's very, like Grease is her favorite movie, which, I
most kids her age have never even heard of that. Yeah.
No, or Dirty Dancing, or these kind of movies that, we know, her friends didn't know. So, and then she knows obviously movies from Europe and singers. And celebrities there. So she, like I said, she knows a little bit of everything. And I think that's because, when you have people living in the United States, the culture comes in, you bring the culture with you, although my husband says I'm very American. Because my husband is Czech too, by the way, just my second. So he's Czech too. So he says, no, you're very American.
He's like, stop kidding yourself. Come on.
Yeah. I may have the accent, but he thinks I'm American already. Like, I don't know. I'll leave it up.
That's funny.
To people.
So remind me. So you moved to England. You said you were 19 or 20 when you moved to England.
Yes.
And then remind me at what age you were when you came to the States.
I was like 24, because
24.
I was studying English there. I was, I was working at the same time, I was the student. So I was doing everything by myself because, like I said, I had only mom and my mom had 2 daughters. So I left, and tried to do studying and, working, on the side to get through this, as a student. I lived with girls in dorm, we had 4 girls in one room. I mean, I remember, those years. So I know what Ariana is going to be experiencing now because I went through it.
So you moved here at 24, and did you move to Las Vegas?
Yes. Well, we lived a little bit in Florida with my ex-husband's family. Then we went to Long Island, and we pretty much what we did, we worked 10 months in a year, and then 2 months we took off and we would backpack some countries. We would go and travel a lot. So we've traveled quite a lot. And then when we decided to have family, we settled in Vegas because he was a chef and there were a lot of opportunities for chefs at that time, which is 20 something years ago here. So then we settled here and we're still here.
And you're still here. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I know this isn't a parenting channel or podcast or whatever you want to call it. And as much as I'd love to just continue to pick your brain about parenting and all of that stuff, because there's so many things that come to mind as you talk, as you're talking, but we'll go ahead and start talking a little bit about Ari's soccer career and her journey and what that looked like for your family. I know she mentioned that you were really good about letting her kind of explore what she truly loved. And she also mentioned that she like there's a variety of things that Ari's into. Like you mentioned, like skiing, like she loves the snow sports and the basketball and track and all this stuff. So I know a lot of parents kind of put an emphasis on a single sport, right? Because sports these days take a lot of just a single sport. Kids are involved in that year round these days. Why was that important to you to kind of let her figure it out herself and not just pigeonhole her into one single sport?
Well, when she was in elementary school, she had only one sport. She was doing soccer. But then she got to middle school and, she was also in that was a club sport and she was getting burned out in there because, she didn't have that growth spurt. And, it really takes one person, which is the coach, and she was not tall. And, when it came to really, when you're doing a tryouts and you're trying out, she would be always number 2 goalie, even though she would be the most athletic one and capable more than the one that was maybe taller, so she started feeling that she was hard on herself and mentally I could see that it was weighing on her because she was not with height where she should be. And they were preferring somebody who was taller and not as good. And she saw it. So at one point she says, Mom, I don't really want to do any more soccer. And at that point I said, okay. I didn't want to push her because, with parents today, they live through their kids. They want to accomplish things that they haven't done. And with me, it was always, I wanted her to play sports because that helped with her ADHD. And I didn't care what it was. So to me, if she was playing soccer, basketball, volleyball, or whatever it was, as long as she was out there and exercising and sleeping well and having a good balance, that was important for me. In the middle school, which we didn't realize, she never played basketball. She never played volleyball. She started playing it and she was one of the best ones. She became MVP in all of them. The most valuable player on volleyball, on soccer, on basketball and volleyball. She found a passion there. While she was burned out from soccer and she stopped, she studies other sports. And then at the end of middle school, that was, obviously what, 8th grade, she came back and she says, Mom, I miss soccer. I see all my friends from the club. I start missing them. I want soccer. I said, okay. I said, fine. So I call up back our private goalie coach who was practicing a while back, and we stopped for a few times. So he started practicing with her. And then she made varsity and JV and varsity. She played for both. So then we got to club again, but to Metro sponsored one, not that club that she got burned out. I didn't want her to get to that same environment that you pay a lot of money. Right. And who gives the money is the one who's deciding the future of the team. I didn't want to get into that. There are politics in every sport. I just wanted my daughter to be mentally healthy. So, and that's how it evolved. She, in high school, you have the luxury, and especially in this school, because she goes to private school and it's more oriented to all kinds of things. I love this school, that she was able to be herself and accomplish everything she wanted to. So I think it was with the school's help, they could see the potential of her in the athletic department. And I just was there on a sideline, just making sure she is, healthy, happy mentally, and does whatever she wants to do. So if it was a volleyball, basketball, and soccer.
Yeah. And I think we all want our kids to say, I have two little girls. I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. So when I say we all, my kids are very young, I get that. But I mean, we want our kids to succeed, obviously. But at the end of the day, like, if that's at the cost of their, their mental health and their happiness, like, is it really worth it? You want them to be happy. And if, whatever, if that, whether it's coming from a sport or art or whatever. And I think that's obviously important that that we don't just set our sights on one single thing and kind of lose sight of what's really important there. But so I'm curious. Ari was goalkeeper of the year. Congratulations to
Thank you.
That's really that's so cool. But I'm curious if there was a point in, up until then, or up until high school, or maybe later on in high school, I'm not sure. Did she come to you and say, Mom, I want to play soccer in college? Or was it a coach maybe that came to you and said, hey, I think she's got a real shot at playing in college? Or was it something that was just kind of always implied?
No, I think everyone knew Ariana in a school, her friends around us, all the people, they knew she has what it takes, that she's athletic. The thing was, because she was doing so many sports, they really did not want to, and there were pressure that she had to pick and choose. And at one point, she made a varsity team for, I think, volleyball, and she had to decline it because she wanted to play soccer. So she had to make a choice where she is going to be. Is it going to be volleyball? Is it going to be soccer? And in soccer, she said this to me when she had to make the choice, and it was sad for volleyball because I could see her doing it too. She says, Mom, in volleyball, we are so many of us on that field, when we're playing, but in the net, it's just me. So I can control what I do. And that's why I want to play soccer, because with the other girls, you win or lose, it's very difficult. So when she told me that, why she wanted to play soccer, she knew in that net, it's a whole team. Obviously, she's the last one who has to stop the ball, but she felt she has more control in there than if she was playing the volleyball, where it's all of them.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. That makes so much sense. I mean, to be honest, so I'm not a soccer player. I'm actually a basketball player, but I never actually thought of that. Like, to me, soccer was like a team sport, and it obviously is, but I never looked at it in the sense of like the goalkeeper. Like, the goalkeeper is kind of special, like unique in that way, right? Yes. So, that's interesting. And I think that speaks to. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you have a lot of players there, and they could be better one. You have better ones serving, you have better ones diving, you have better ones being on the net at volleyball, or in basketball. You have point guard, you have somebody under the hoop, you have somebody, who is on the wings. I mean, with her, she was good, but she was not that next level that she could be the player. So in the next, she saw a better chances when she knew she's good, and if she takes it to another level, she could be great. And I think that's why she went away from these other sports.
That's cool. I love that's such a cool perspective.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my mind is spinning like now with all
No.
of these other questions. I'm like, that's so cool. Like my mind was just blown. So if you saw smoke coming out of my ears, that's what that was from. But
I tell
so
you one thing, if I can add, I know you
yeah.
want to say why I was telling her these sports, which I think it's good because she played multiple sports. She was the least injured female athlete they had in there. You have soccer players who had always some kind of injury, especially the ALC or whatever they call it, you know, basketball players and concussions and other thing. Ariana was the least injured because she always exercised different part of her body. So she has never been badly injured. I have to knock it on the wood.
Yeah.
You know,
I got you too.
She hasn't, thank you. She has never been really badly injured. And if something went wrong in one sport and she got frustrated with herself or with whatever was going on, I said, hey, it's almost over. Next sport is starting in a high school. Focus on that. If you know, you can do better there. If this is not working out, just don't worry. Just finish the season. You did your best, and refocus on the other one. And that's what helped her.
Oh, that's so good. I feel like I could talk to you for hours about this,
I know.
but that's awesome. So prior to working with us, what other things maybe did you do to help Ari get recruited? And that could be anything from like camps and clinics or whatever, club teams, I don't know, but what stuff had you guys had done?
Well, she is part of a club, and like I said, it's a Metro Las Vegas Police Department is sponsoring it, so she's part of that club. Her coach is a same coach that is in a high school. It's kind of a coincidence. It was not. It's a coincidence. She started with him, and then he got hired by Faith Lutheran and became her coach there. So
nice.
This was a total coincidence. And what happened was, what I think we were not able to do much, and the reason for it was because she was only a freshman when she was really playing. She was playing for JV most of the time, and we were happy because she was a number 2 goalie for varsity, and she played a lot for JV. And I told her, you don't want to be playing for varsity and sitting on a bench. You need to be developing. So JV is great because JV had more action. You know, when you were playing for JV soccer at high school, she would have more activity. And what happened then 2 years later, you had these, pandemic happened. So recruiters were not coming, coaches were not looking, high school sports were not happening. So what we did was with her private goalie coach, we were continuing practices, just her and him in the park. You know, they were social distance, obviously. He was kicking and training her and pushing her, and she kept being fit. So when everything reopened, she was ready. And then she got a shot because the number 1 goalie, something happened and Ariana got an opportunity, to step in when she got the opportunity. And she did well. She surprised everyone. We already knew she's that good, but she needed that opportunity. And that happened, and then it kept going. And that was senior year, that opportunity. So we were a little bit behind. I would say, when we got this Coach John, the recruiter, he kept telling us, we need to get going. I need a video. I need to fill out the website. I need your profile. I need this. He was telling us. And I'm like, we're working on it. And we were behind. I had to get a videographer to get the video going. We had to fill out the web page, get the, some professional shot, because there were no games. We didn't have anything.
Right. And so remind me, the COVID year or whatever, that was her junior year.
Which one?
Like the pandemic year, that was her junior year?
Junior year, and I said end of sophomore. And that was it. And because you didn't have even like club sports were not happening, and we didn't have high sports, there was no video footage. So you could not use that and create video. So I hired a videographer when there was just a friendly game that they were doing through pandemic. I told him we need something. So he recorded that because there was no one streaming anything.
Right.
And then we did it one again the end of this last season, 2021, because high school soccer came back on. Then we needed an updated video. So again, we were a little bit disadvantaged due to the pandemic that it impacted us, and not just us, most kids going through sports right now.
Right. And she did mention, though, her senior year, she did get that starting goalkeeper spot. And she mentioned it was her breakout. I mean, obviously, we said it, she was goalkeeper of the year. So obviously she had a breakout year. But tell me what that felt like as a mom when your kid, like, you know her potential. And obviously, yeah, we're a little biased towards our kids, but you had these coaches, you had other parents telling you how great she was. Tell me what it felt like getting able to watch your kid kind of finally shine and show what she was capable of.
Well, I try to keep it cool for her. If collected, she'll be collected. If she's happy, I'm happy. As parent, you're feeling what your kids are feeling. If she's unhappy and the goal comes in, you are as edgy distraught as she is. But you have to put a good face and say, never mind, shake it off. It's one goal, keep it up, and she can make hundreds of saves and something will go in if they're under attack, but luckily, she plays for a club where she has a lot of action. And at Fate, the team was very strong. There are talents everywhere. They make her job easy. And when they needed her, she was there to make those key saves. She was there. I don't think I would not want to take anything away from the team. The girls were fantastic. They put up a fight. They were great. We were dealing with a lot of injuries. And that's why when the action came in and stronger team won, at that time, it was Coronado who beat us at finals and in the state. They were constantly on our side and battling, and we had to keep players injured. So I would say we had a great season, and we did what we could with, what we were going through. And Ariana made those key saves. So I don't want to say it was just Ari, that amazing player. It takes the team. They made her job easy at some times, and at some points when they needed her, she was there. And that's what I think, you can get a lot in your head. And I think as she was growing, her confidence was growing. And because I tell you, she had that amazing save. We were playing against Bishop Gorman. So I don't know if you know this, Faith Lutheran and Bishop Gorman are the two private schools that are very competitive in every sport. And soccer is, not exception. And Ariana made key save, and, we won 1-0. It could be anybody's win. Bishop Gorman is as good as Faith. It could be anyone's win. But because she made that save, that assured our victory, because, they were shooting, we were shooting, and that's pretty much what happened.
That's awesome. So when it came to, okay, Mom, I want to go to college. I want to play soccer in college. Tell me what kind of like assumptions you had. Were you thinking like, okay, like these schools are just going to reach out to us and we'll just decide? I know she did mention that she had maybe about 3 schools that were interested in her beforehand, but were you kind of like, I don't know, were you assuming that people were going to reach out to you, or what did that look like?
Well, I did not know what to expect because, she's my first child and we never went through it. So it is a learning curve for me, because I think I'll be much wiser with my son when it comes to it. If he wants to pursue it, it's going to be up to him. But I did not have any expectations. I didn't even know if she wants to will pursue it or not. We had people reaching out to us. We were talking to people. We also visited last year a university in Florida, and they were very interested in her, and we were going back and forth on tuition. They offered her first thing, then she was a little bit surprised that she was expecting more. They came back with more. And they did what they could. I think it was great. We met the coach, we met the team. It was lovely. Everything was right. But then, I went to this recruiting seminar at Fate, and, then you start realizing, okay, I had no idea. That recruiting seminar that Coach John gave us at Fate, I thought, okay, we're doing pretty good. And then I realized, oh no, we're not.
Yeah, it
So
is kind of a reality check. I know, I mean, I've been a college athlete myself, but still, like, there's so much that I, even to this day, am still learning about the whole process and recruiting and the amount of rules and the deadlines, and it's a lot.
it is. And I came back to my husband and I said, honey, I don't think I know what I'm doing. I said, I don't think I'm doing good by Ari. I think I
Right.
could do better, but I don't have time for this because I work, I take care of, her brother too, it's just, I can't do it. I said, I don't think I can do right by Ari. And
Yeah.
that's what happened, that, we start considering, doing that recruiting because, it was too much for me.
Right. So you met with Coach Scott.
Yes.
Coach Don, Coach Scott. We're talking about the same person here.
Yeah. Yeah.
First name, last name. But and then as a family, you decided you wanted to go forward, working together. Once you made that decision though, I have to imagine that there was a sense of relief knowing that, like, okay, I did the best that I could with what I knew, and now I'm gonna hand it over to the professionals here. How did it feel knowing that, you know, he was gonna take care of her? They were gonna figure it out.
Well, when he was giving the presentations at Fate, there was a lot of parents.
Mhm.
And a lot of us, we fill out a form and he contacted certain people, right? I think he contacted the people that he knew he could help, that they have what it takes, based on GPA, based on the sports, based on what they're doing, So I don't, just one thing was when he called and he kind of, assess what I put on that paper. I think, I can help here, that already gave me a confidence that, if he didn't think he can help, he would not call us.
Right.
So when we've met, and then he explained to us everything. He had a nice presentation. There were actual examples of students and athletes that he helped. And then he talked to Ari, obviously, and more got into it with her, he guided her and me throughout the entire process. I mean, he
Mhm.
explained to us what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, what to expect. And everything he was saying was right on it. I don't think I have to ever call him and say something, I don't know what we're doing, I'm unhappy, or this and that. I never pick up the call. I just, it was very easy with him.
Mhm. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. So when he
Right.
says, "Hey, I think I can help you,"
Yes.
like, hey,
I
oh,
felt
of course he would know what he's talking about, right?
exactly. I don't think he would take her because he says, I will guarantee you that you're gonna get some offers. And he would not say that if he couldn't. So
Right.
I was thinking, okay, well, it's not gonna be worse where we are right now. If anything, it's
Right.
gonna be better. Well, I did not expect it how much better it's gonna get, because I'm sure I touched base on that too. I'm
We
sure.
did. We talked about how she had about 120 schools reach out to her, just, I mean, in total, but I think just in that first day it was almost 100. And she mentioned how kind of by the end of it, she was almost getting a little bit annoyed. She's like, I'm sick of talking about myself. How am I going to call all these people back? But we also talked about how they kind of helped narrow that down, and they did get
Yes.
through that, and that sort of a thing. And so something else I want to mention that Ari said she kind of struggled with was beforehand was kind of public speaking, talking, the idea of talking on the phone to coaches or face to face, or I mean on Zoom here, kind of freaked her out a little bit. But by the of end of it all, she's like, I don't have that fear anymore. And she said that was something that not only her, but also you were kind of worried about, was just like her fear of just talking to people in general, not people in general, but just coaches and, that sort of a thing. So I'm curious, after working with Coach John, um, did you see anything else shift in her, like maybe her confidence, or, we talked about how she became more comfortable with speaking, but was there anything else that you noticed?
Yeah, definitely. She did not need me much. I mean, because she knew this is something I can't help with. I could not be at every conversation. I could not know what they're asking her. I would not know how to answer that. That was all between her and the coach. And, frankly, the coaches didn't want to talk to me. They wanted to talk to her. So, I was completely out. I remember when this hit, when Coach John said, expect this is going to be crazy. And she kept texting me, Mom, 90, then it's 100, then it's 120, emails, calls. And then, it was Christmas time. She had a 2 weeks break. I hardly saw her. She was on the phone from the morning she got up to the evening she went to bed. We hardly saw her on Christmas. And she was always speaking with coaches, and she was in her room, and she was doing a good job. I was not involved at all. She did not needed me. And I think that's the big thing that Coach John took care of, because he gave her spreadsheets and outline questions. He told her, you answer yes sir, yes ma'am, no. He told her to clean up social media just in case there's something. He guided her through things that she would not think of, or I would not think of. So he kind of had all kinds of a script for her prepared. I mean, she doesn't know what question to ask. She was 18 years old, and she didn't know what to do either. She didn't know how to answer, and what the questions are going to be, and what is important to say.
Right.
So,
And not just in talking to coaches, right? Like,
yeah,
these things are also going to translate when she joins the workforce and she's interviewing for a job, or,
right,
I mean, these are things that she will hopefully take with her, not only in just the next 4 years of college or however many years she's in college, but just throughout the rest of life.
right, right.
Yeah. So, Andrea, okay, this is kind of off topic here, but I'm trying to put myself in your shoes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm shaking my computer again. Putting myself in your shoes where I'm not from this country. I'm learning cultures. I'm learning kind of everything on my own. I have a daughter that comes to me, says she wants to play college. So we get her the help that she needs with college coaches. And, you know, you go through all of this and figuring it all out. And I'm very impressed, because I mean, I think there's a lot of parents from this country that are kind of paralyzed by the idea of, getting their kids off to college anyways. And you did this as somebody not from here. So I just have to say, like, color me impressed, because I mean, I can't imagine doing what you did. So I think that's really cool.
Well, thank
So
you. It
now
takes a
she's
village.
signed. Oh, go ahead.
It takes a village. It's not just
Yeah.
me. Like I said, we have great people around us, and so it was not just me, but I am like her manager, that I was more behind it, talking to people and doing things, so that's
Right.
pretty much it. But it takes a village, and you have to have good people next to you, and especially people who believe in your child. That's the
Right.
only thing I think they have to believe, and if they do, then it's all good.
Well, right. I mean, like, you can tell your kids all day long how awesome they
Great.
are.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, yeah, mom, like, you're my mom. You have to love me. You have to believe in me. And obviously your support is the most important, but there is something about, when an outsider or third party or something like that tells you that, I believe in you and I think you're capable. Like, there is something special about that. So
Yes.
we're happy to play a small part in that, for sure.
Yes, definitely.
So we know she signed with Caldwell University in Caldwell, New Jersey. So, out of curiosity, I went to Google Maps, okay, and I put in Las Vegas, Nevada to Caldwell, New Jersey, and it is about 2,500 miles away if you're driving. So I think a lot of parents would freak out if their kid was like, I'm going across the country as far away as I could possibly get. But you also mentioned how, that was something that was important to you, no matter where she went, was that she was able to create these life experiences, learn how to become self-reliant, not dependent, always dependent on you. How do you, like, mom to mom here, how do you really feel about her going that far?
Well, when we were in New Jersey, we visited it, and then when we decided this is it, and I paid the admission fee or whatever that was, the
Mhm.
enrollment or whatever that was, because you have to get it processed. We spent a couple of days in New York, and it was very emotional trip at that point, because it starts sinking in. I think it's gonna, and it keeps sinking in. There are moments that it's very emotional, and just because like what we went through, like with the dog bite, with the ADHD, with her father and I getting divorced, and all these other things, it's kind of you're raising your child up to this point to get them there and go to college, and they're gonna leave you eventually if they don't go to college locally. Sooner than later they'll leave anyway. So, and
Right.
I was telling this to her friend's mom, because they were with us on the New York trip. I was lucky, I had a support in there. I had moms there to
Oh, fun.
support me in this, her best friends. So I had a support there for that. And I told them, I'm the first one going, because I teared up. I said, but it's gonna happen to you too. I'm the first
Mhm.
one going through it, but trust me, it's gonna hit you too, and we're all gonna be there, experiencing it. But with Ari, like you said, whatever, when she had the ADHD, whatever she needed, and after the dog bite, after the medications and all, I always got her what she needed. So if she told me she wants to go, and doesn't matter where, as long as she can play soccer, and and she get a good scholarship, then I knew this is going to be her. And if I hold her here because I can't part with her, she's going to become resentful.
Right.
She is not going to be happy. Our life is not going to be happy. And I felt, because I went through it, the farther you go, the closer it keeps you home, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
I was studying in London. I was away from my family. And then I went to United States, and my grandparents says, you're the only one who keeps calling us and calling us. And you are like if you were around the corner. And the kids we have right here next to us, they don't call us. They don't come to so often. So I was always more closer to home, the farther away I was.
Right.
And I feel like Ariana is going to be the same, that I think the farther along she is, the closer home it's going to keep her, and the closer we will be. If she was in here, she would present it, and we would maybe get far apart from each other.
Right.
And I want that.
Right. Well,
So,
I mean, I have to imagine that part of her having that confidence to go that far from home is a lot of to do with the way that you chose to raise her. And in she knows she can always come back home, right? And
right,
so that
right.
I imagine that has to give her a sense of, like I said, confidence, where she's like, I can go out and I can go do my thing and I can give this a shot because mom's always waiting for me, or mom's always got my back, or I can always go back, back home. And so I know you're crediting Ari for a lot of this stuff, as you should.
Yes.
Like, she's such an awesome kid, but I mean, you're behind that awesome kid as well. Like, that obviously wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you. So, um,
It wasn't easy, I gotta tell you. You see the result. I don't want to make it all fabulous looking.
right,
There were struggles. When you have a child with ADHD and they don't pay attention, and they're not focused, it's very easy. You have to repeat things many times, let them remember things, get organized. It's not
right,
simple. I think, like I said, Ari did a lot of things because she had all those struggles that she had to overcome. Those
right,
struggles, healing after the dog, after the divorce, and then this, everything she overcame. So I'm not worried about her going to New Jersey, because I hope I raised her well. I trust her good judgment. I always tell her, if there is some hesitation in your mind, then it's probably not a good thing. You
mhm,
always have to trust your instinct, and always think of what possibly the worst can happen.
right,
Not the best outcome, always the other plan B. And so I don't know. I hope she does well. I hope you know uh, they will understand her, her energy, because, like, again, She will be very competitive. She will be hard on herself. She'll be mad. I can tell you, I see the energy. I can go to soccer field. She can be so far away, and I already know if she's happy or unhappy. I can tell you that. So
that's so funny.
So
well, speaking of instinct, she mentioned that she did have these other offers before she started working with Coach Scott, and then I think she said there was about 15 schools actually from all those schools that called, that when they narrowed it down, there was about 15 that were willing to go ahead and give her an offer. But in all of her, exploring all of her options and that sort of a thing, it didn't quite fit the bill. But with Caldwell, she's like, I got there, me and my mom went on a visit, and I got to Caldwell, and I was just like, I felt it, like this was it. Like, she vibed with coaches, and she got to meet with the girls, and she's just like, this is it. I'm curious, did you have that same feeling too, of like, okay,
I did. I clicked with the coach. You know why? The coach is Italian. So again, I'm from Europe, and and it was first thing, the fact we talk on the phone, he was Italian. I said, I'm from Czech Republic. He knew right away, and then, he you kind of know when you hit it with somebody off, and I think we hit it off, all three of us, Ariana, me, and the coach. And, Italians are very direct, and very charismatic, and, they're very lively. And I think we are the same way because Ariana has that Latin blood, so I felt it like there was, it was an understanding, I know what he will totally tell her, this is my expectations, and he's not going to sugarcoat it. He's not going to be, gentle, and he's going to be, and he's also a goalie. So, which was great for me, and I asked him that question, are you going to personally coach her, or you have someone else? He says, I may do it, but, a few times, but I have someone else too. So I like that fact because, when is a goalie coach hiring or assigning up a goalie, he has to know, what that potential is. So knowing that he kind of, I don't know, I had a faith in him because he was a goalie coach, and also he had that, Italian background, and he says it's like a one big family at his house and at the soccer. And when he walked us through, he showed us the whole campus and how they operate, how the team is, and all of it. I felt like this is exactly what Ariana is about with us and the family. So I felt this will be great. I don't know, you always hope for the best. You never know. We are not there yet. She hasn't moved there yet. But I hope it is all that what we think right now that it is.
Well, what's crazy, and I'm sure you came away from this too with, from your the seminar with Coach Scott, when he told you, I mean, look at how many schools are out there. What's crazy to, it's crazy to think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing you probably wouldn't have found this school if it wasn't for, because I mean, how many schools are out there, right? Especially how many schools wanting somebody like Ari, like, you never would have known that school, that coach, that whatever even existed.
No, we would not find it. And I know that for a fact because I know who we were talking to. We were signed up on this program. It's called Field Level. It's an application through high school, and I'm sure there are other ones too, but this is what the high school was using. And I subscribed for it to see who is kind of interested in her. And I saw the colleges and who were asking her, but I don't know, Ariana was handling it herself at that time, and they were asking her things, but it was all in writing. There's not like, and then calls were not as personal. So yes, this school in particular stood out because, again, I think it's the coach always. It takes one person, it's not necessarily Caldwell University, it's the program they have, and it's the coach. That's the first person you're going to meet, and again, and Ariana too, he represents the school, and the fact that he's been there 20 years, that tells me they must be happy with him running the program. He hasn't been hired there yesterday or a week ago or a month ago. He's been there for 20 years. He showed us a whole wall of athletes. They went in there throughout the years and knew everybody's name in 20 years. So to me, I'm like, those little things matter. And yes, we would not find this school if it was not for this program, because this program didn't know of Ariana, and the school would not know of Ariana. Ariana did not know, and she would not know to Google Caldwell University in particular reason.
Right.
So it was kind of like it was like a meet and greet and connect.
Yeah. I mentioned this with her. I'm like, we're like matchmakers or something.
Yes.
We work with both parties to try and find, the best fit, not just any school, right? She mentioned her degree, what she wants to study, and, it wouldn't have felt right to send her just anywhere just so she could play. We want all the pieces to fit.
Right.
So, I feel like you kind of answered this throughout our chat, but overall, I'm guessing, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. You feel like this has been a good investment for you and your family and Ari's career?
Well, my husband and I, we say you spend money throughout the years into soccer, private coaches and everything, which I don't regret any of it. But I can tell you this was the best money spent we ever did. I mean, I told him that this was well money spent, and I don't regret it. And I'm very happy we did that. And, we didn't have much time to think about it, once we decided, because time was running out, and it was right before Christmas, and at the same time, I had to figure out Ariana's transportation. She had to get a car because her other car, was not working out. So we had to get her a car. So at the same time, you start thinking senior year, it's a lot of outgoing, so many expenses. And we had to figure out a way to say and justify that this is going to be a good thing. We did not know, obviously. We believed it, but it came up to be the best thing we ever did.
Right.
For Ari.
Oh, well, that's okay. I did not ask her to say that, just so everybody is aware, but I can't think of a better testimonial than what you just said. So if another parent came to you and said, hey, I heard you've been working with College Coaches Connections, but I'm on the fence, what would you tell them?
I would say to do it. I said, it will, you think about it, how much money you spend into this recruiting program, and then how much money you can save when they get the scholarships or get to the universities in the long term. Think about it, because, what you get in return is much more than when you put into it for the recruiting program. We have Ariana saved so much money for the school because of this program that we paid for her. And, and we spent so much money already into her. This was not like a matter of think, like, okay, we did this, we did that, we did this. What about this? Well, okay, we already did this, so we have to follow up. It was, like I said, it was the best thing we did for her. And if I can tell you this, if my son will be continuing with hockey, I'll do the same thing for him and with Coach John when the time comes for hockey.
Well, I'm sure, I mean, you said he's 9, he's only 9, but I'm sure those years are going to fly by. So.
I know, but I'm going to start earlier. I'm not going to.
There you go.
And hopefully there will not be any pandemic or other things going on,
Yeah, exactly. So well, that is different.
Yeah.
Well, like we said, we started with where we didn't even meet Ari, didn't even know Ari until after her senior year, right? Or was it the end of her senior year?
No, she is in senior now. You did not meet Ari.
Oh, sorry, the end of her senior season.
Yeah, the season when the soccer season got over. Yes. Okay. You didn't meet her until then.
Yeah. And we work with kids every kind of wherever they're at in their career, whether it's freshman, whatever. It'll just look a little different depending on that. But yeah, we would love that if he would, if he decides he wants to go forward, because then Coach Scott can really work with him and spend a bunch of time with him.
Yeah, no, he is great, like I said, and he's so personable. And what I like about Coach John too, he is no nonsense guy. He tells you as things are. And where I come from too, I like the honesty, even if it is brutal honesty. I want that truth. I don't want anyone to tell me something that it's not, and it's going to be better than it is.
Right.
And, he told me, we are so behind, we need this and then that. I was very happy because he was always very truthful. He did not sell me anything. He didn't promise me anything. He didn't, he told me how things going to be. So.
Right. Well, I don't know. I feel like, is there anything else that you want people to know or feel like, advice? You kind of talked about it. You're like, just do it. But, whether it's parenting or whether it's, college recruiting, is there anything else you can think of that you're like, I feel like parents should know this?
No, I think parents needs to listen to their children, because I don't think that, sometimes parents do whatever is good for them, not for what is necessarily good for children. I think if you listen to them, everybody's gonna be happy. I've always listened to my daughter. For good and bad, I'm trying, I always try to help her as much as I could, but I never pushed her. This sports, people I know, my friends, they probably think, oh my God, she's the soccer mom. They live it, they breathe it at another level. And I tell them, no, I don't push my kids playing sports. It's not us, it's them. It's absolutely them. If she told me she doesn't want to do it, that's her choice. And I would tell these parents too, because there is a lot of kids today and they are so talented and they do so well in athletics, and they're not pursuing it further. They're not going to college because they are burned out. Why they are burned out? Because of the politics, because of the dynamics, what's going on. They don't want to have that experience in college. And I found that kind of sad, because I feel sports is great, and you're not going to be a professional, you're going to get paid for it, but why not embrace it in college? Why not continue doing that what you love, just because you got burned out? And Ari burned out early on. Luckily it was in the middle school, so she still had chance. But kids are burning out in high school that are not going farther along. And I'm sure parents are not happy, because they invested the time, then money, and they get disappointed when the kid said, I don't want to play it anymore. So yeah. I think important thing is to listen to kids. And I think it goes with drama and art and piano. I mean, you can think of anything. It applies to everything around. It's not just sports.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. We talk to a lot of parents who, we talk to a lot of families in general, and it's either, there's such a mix, right? There's parents who either feel like they want it more than their kids and vice versa, or parents like saying, oh, we would like to, like, we're interested in schools that are close to home, and the kid's like, I'll go anywhere. And there's definitely a disconnect with a lot of families. And so I think you're spot on. I think, like I said, I could continue picking your brain and go on and on forever about this, because, and I don't know, when my kids become, or when we get to that age, I feel like, I don't know, I'm going to keep your number, and I'm going to need you to talk me off a ledge sometimes. Like, no, this is what they want, Brittany. You need to just back up. I'm like, okay. Andrea said so. It's okay.
It's hard to hear the truth. I didn't want Ariana to quit soccer. I didn't want her to start another sport and invest money and time. But it's better, because then they find out what they truly like. And she missed the soccer. She came back and said, I want to play it. I miss the friends. I miss the thrill of it. I miss that. I feel, she loves being the goalie. And, she needed that break in order to fall in love with it again.
Well, I don't know. I can't think of a better way to kind of wrap up there. I, again, can't thank you enough for being willing to jump on, and we got to brag about Ari and talk about how cool she is. And in case nobody's told you lately, good job, Mom. Just good job.
Thank you.
And I know you're trying to play it cool and be like, oh, it's a village, but seriously, like,
thank you.
It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you. I know you have to take, you're getting she's your responsibility at the end of the day. So,
right. Well, most important person who knows that is her. And as long as she knows and is aware of it, then the rest is fine. As long as she knows that, she'll pass it along, when she has her own family and, and people around her. So that's the thing. As long as she remembers it. And basically what you were telling me about her, what she told you, I think it's in there somewhere. Here, it is there.
I mean, teenagers aren't the best at communicating with us in general. So hopefully you felt validated knowing that's like, okay, I put in all this time and effort, and it feels like I'm repeating myself over and over again, but It did sink in. Look at that.
Yeah, well, you know how many times we had to remind her of it, you know?
Yeah.
And like the teenager, it's hard, they know it all. She's
Yeah.
independent, she's driving, she's doing all of this, she's done all of that. You know, she's still not there yet, you know? And that's why I think the New Jersey will help with this, because she will, you know, she could not, you know, she can always come home, but she cannot call me to fix something or help with something,
Right.
because I'm going to be so far away. She will have to figure this out. And that's the next step. And I
Oh,
want her to figure it out, because you know, I don't know if the kids, you know, in Europe, kids are more free on their own to be mobile. In here, we parents are their chauffeurs. We are too much involved. We take care of everything. And I think the kids here are maturing so late, but they drive early. You know, there they drive at 18 over there. They can drink at 18 over there. Here, they cannot drink at 21, but they can drive at 16. You know, it's kind of, it's a little different dynamic. And that was always my, like a balance, like, wow, this is here, this is that, how I'm going to find the balance here.
right. Well, I will just wrap this up by saying, if you are interested in learning more, if you would like one of our coaches to reach out to you, you can always, we have Facebook and Instagram. You can always DM us there. You can email us at coach@collegecoachesconnections.com. That's what I should do from now on. Every time I talk to somebody, I should make them say College Coaches Connections 3 times as fast as they can.
Oh, cool.
It's a mouthful. But yeah, you can also go to our website, collegecoachesconnections.com. We have a bunch of info there. So again, thank you so much for hopping on here with me. I don't know. I think teenagers get a bad rap sometimes, and don't get me wrong, they're stressful. They're stressful kids, they're stressful people. But the way that you talked about Ari and the way that you kind of described your relationship and your parenting and that sort of thing, I don't know. I'm kind of, not that I want time to go any faster than it already is for my own kids, but I don't know. It makes me kind of not so fearful, I think, of the future. So
well, good luck to you with the girls. It's fun. It's time. Enjoy it. Take it day by day. Yeah, like you said, don't rush it, because you know, time it needs to take its own course. You know, it needs to take. So
for sure. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. And we look forward to continuing to follow Ari. And I also looked it, if you drive from Las Vegas to New Jersey, you go right through Salt Lake.
Oh,
so
okay.
You'll have to stop by and say hi.
I will. It takes 3 days. I thought you were telling me how long it's going to take me to get there, but I was showing you 3 days, but you're right. It goes through Salt Lake. Yeah.
I know. It told me 37. It told me 37 hours, and that's no stopping. So yeah.
From you though, from you, not from us.
Oh, maybe that's what it was telling me too. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So, but yeah, you'll drive right through us. So definitely stop by and say hi. But,
I will.
We'll let you get back to the rest of your day. Again, thank you. And we look forward to following Ari and her journey.
Good. Me too.
Okay, I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.